Welcome back to another episode of Missing Triggers. Today, we're going over a lot of shit, Sebastian. It's been a
Yeah.
minute since we've done one of these. Just getting
Oh
back
yeah.
from the Pro Tour and everything. Kind of had us get back in the motions of life. But we're back and we're gonna talk about a lot of stuff today. I think. Um, First and foremost, Sebastian, how was your last, week and a half been since Pro Tour, since getting back? Because we got back the Monday after. So,
Yeah, so basically after we landed, Kyle knows that I basically been working and then played
yeah,
ProQuest and that's it.
for sure, for
Oh,
sure. And
I
we'll
had
get
my
into the Pro
birthday.
Quest stuff. Oh well, happy birthday! I know it was last Thursday.
Yep. So that was my
Ha-
one day off. That's why this episode's a little late because
well,
full schedule last
happy belated birthday, Sebastiano.
appreciate it.
One more year. It's kind of crazy to think that I met you when you were 17, and here we are. You're 20 now, and you're growing up, and it's weird to see. But uh, but yeah, let's get into this nonsense. First and foremost, we had a great time at Pro Tour. Obviously, um, results that we expected to get for the testing that you guys did obviously didn't translate. Nonetheless, though, having legitimately the bet like the top 350 best players in the world, roughly, and they're competing all at once was a sight to see, to say the least, and shows how big this game is growing. So
Oh, for sure. Yep.
it was pretty neat. I mean, you got to see people from all over the country, and yeah. So, first and foremost, before we get into, the topic of the Pro Tour and our takeaways and everything, I want to give a slight little 30-second thing in regards to our name missing triggers. Just a small one, just a small one.
Just
Um,
a little bit.
just a little one. So it's come to my attention that there is another entity with a name very similar to ours, and I don't really know how else to go over other than it's kind of just bullshit in a way. Long story short, one of our patrons, actually on the Card Guys Patreon, knew that we were making this podcast with the name Missing Triggers, and him and his friends decided to take upon themselves to make a YouTube channel with technically the same name. A couple days before we launched our first episode. And for weeks, knowing we were doing this,
Yeah, we have been
and
promoting it for a long time.
I was promoting it for roughly about a month or so before we made the account and everything. Have timestamps to prove as well. And randomly one day, just start getting messages on Discord saying, "Hey, you guys are coming out with this, but this thing already is out."
Three
And
days
of
before
course,
our first episode was when we want to launch
yep,
it.
exactly. Knowing that we were making this episode on this day too.
Exactly.
And it seems like there's a slight issue with people because of the name, because of the similar names, and these said people are also at the Pro Tour. Um, Actually, 2 rooms down from us, Sebastian, and they knew that, and they looked at me every single time they walked past me. Obviously, I don't have an issue with it, but they obviously have an issue with it. So, if there was so much of an issue, don't be a fucking pussy behind a keyboard and actually say something to me so we can actually resolve it. Because that's how men are supposed to do this, not some passive aggressive bullshit. Just want to lay that out there. So that's my two
Yep.
cents. I'm keeping my name, and that's going to be the end of it. It's an inside joke between me and all of our friends, and especially between Sebastian and I. And that's just how it's going to be. I legitimately don't give a fuck. So if you got a
And
problem with that, that's your problem, not my problem.
and
And
basically
that's just the end of it.
we've just been like, yep, we're going to address it this one time, and then after that, it's just comment and we're not paying attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's water under the bridge. If you got a problem
Exactly.
with it, you know where to find me. So, Pro Tour jersey though. let's talk about the
Exactly.
entire, the leading up for Pro Tour Jersey. I guess like the week of. Nathan and Josh decided we flew out when Thursday morning. So Josh
Yeah.
and Josh and Nathan ended up coming from Alabama Wednesday afternoon time. And you guys play tested a lot at Level Up, and we got some food, and it was just a good friend time.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
for
that's
sure.
I think that's what a lot of people don't really see when they think of a team or they think like a group of people. I know a lot of people talk about like the elitist side of things, but we're just
Oh,
friends. Like we do this for a common goal of just having something to do, and it's all about the friendship. Honestly, for me.
and that's really like what surprised me is like people always talk about like if I play against someone who's on a team, I immediately think he's an asshole and he's an elitist and all that. It's like, or they think teams are supposed to be this thing where like the best players get together and like their egos constantly crash into each other and they, think
And
they're
that's
better
true
than
to
the
a
other.
certain extent. That's true to a certain extent. I will not get into that, but that's true to a certain extent for a very exclusive group of people. But
Yeah, I
but
would
yeah,
say that's where we are. I think most teams are different that we are a competitive team, but we're also, like you said, a group of friends, and we wouldn't add anyone unless they got along with us. We wouldn't just add someone just because, oh, you're a good player and we want you here. And if they don't click with us, then we're not going to get good testing in. We're not going to, have a good time together. And ultimately, it's not going to be good for anyone. So,
no, for sure,
I'm,
for sure. I mean, back in was it skirmish season 2? I want to say with Nathan, for example. He and I kind of hit it off, in my opinion. I guess right off rip. He
yeah.
and I played like round 4 of that 5 round skirmish, and he got me because those were like 3 all hit red hands in a row, and I lost by like 1 or 2 life. And he and I were joking back and forth, motherfucker. I better see you in the finals because we were. He was like first seed, and I was second seed, so it was like okay, there's a huge chance if we both just went out, obviously we'll play in the finals. And he lost in the finals to the guy that I beat, and I was very upset. But he and I kind of stayed connected in a way. And I kind of the same thing with Josh. He told me about Josh and how this player from Hong Kong is just he moved to Alabama, and he's now just he's like top 10 in XP. And then just friendships form from there, and we see each
Yeah.
other at all these events. And um again, that's just the coolest part about this game is, and we'll get into Hong Kong in a second, but in a little bit. But you know, people from so different walks of life come together, and we share this one thing,
Yeah.
that that we love, which is card games, and getting to share those experiences with these people,
I
is
mean, it
more or
really
less the
hit
reason I
me.
do this.
It really hit me after like we were at dinner somewhere and I'm sitting next to a couple of our really good local friends, married couple Eric and Kaylee, and they're, you know, in their
Fucking love
30s.
Eric and Kaylee.
Yeah, for sure. And they're in their 30s and they're hanging out with me. I'm 19 at the time or maybe even 18. You have Kyle who's, you know, you were 28, 27 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Nam, you just have all these people that are from completely different walks of life, and we're all just brought together by a mutual interest in this amazing game, which I
For
think is
sure.
crazy. It still blows my mind sometimes,
And
and
it
especially with
rings
the Hong
true
Kong
for
players
sure.
hanging out with them this weekend. That was when we get
We'll
into that, but
we'll definitely get into that. Fucking first off, shout out to Jack and Kaiser. Fucking innocent people, bro. I fucking miss them
uh,
so much. I
every
miss them
day.
so much, bro. I I send Kaiser these little messages on Facebook like, "Hey, I miss you." Oh, oh man. But yeah. So obviously, Pro Tour Jersey. It, and I guess what you say kind of rings true to James White's, call to action, where he just wants to get
Yeah.
people to be in the flesh and blood. And
Yes,
that's just the coolest fucking thing in the world to me.
it
So
really is, and So I guess we got there Thursday, right? Getting back into like our itinerary of what we did. So we
Oh
got there
shit!
Thursday. We got off the airport. Shout out Nom's bag for
Shout out Nom's
getting
bag,
lost.
bro.
For getting lost.
Oh man, yeah. Shout out Nom's bag, and we uh we Ubered to the hotel, which was literally right next to the venue. Which I've not many times in my life have I stayed literally 100 yards from the place. You know.
And now I never want to do anything else ever again because that was
You're
too
not
convenient.
wrong, bro. You
That
could
thing was
get
amazing.
pissed off and get high rolled in the first 10 minutes of the round, and you could walk back and take a shit in your own bathroom and decompress after getting absolutely fucking raffle stomped. It's
And
like,
still have plenty of time. Still have 15 minutes left after
yeah,
you come back.
you'd get back and it'd be 10 minutes left in the round. You're like, oh, thank God, this is the
Yeah,
life. But no, our hotel was it was packed full of everybody, man. It was
it really was.
shout out to Chris Sires, shout out to Fluke, shout out to Tyler Horspool, who I believe was in there. A lot of Team Poland was in there.
Yeah.
Just so many people. Shout out to the shirtless old man that was in there that one night. That took me by surprise.
Oh my god,
But
that
you
was
know,
hilarious.
oh man, but yeah, we get there and the banquet. Oh shit, I forgot we had the banquet,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. I was
Oh
gonna.
my
Yeah, so we get
goodness.
there. We get in line for the banquet soon after we're there, and the banquet, honestly, it was awesome.
You
I
know, yeah, it really was.
just talking to people and everything. It was unfortunate that some of the people weren't able to make it in because it was it still had I almost said player cap on it, but
It
it,
had a player
it
cam.
it had an attendance cap on it, so
Yeah.
not everyone could get in. But if you were able to get in and be there for the live Q&A with James White, it was truly something else because I love watching interviews with James White and just hearing the person go back and forth with them, and then to see that in real life. And I got to meet him before he went on stage and just shake his hand, and he knew who I was, and that was incredible. And just to have him recognize me and just to be able to say thank you, because that was the main thing I've always wanted to do, was just meet him and just say thank you for creating this amazing game that's helped me through, you know,
Couple years now.
a,
A
a
year.
couple years. I mean, really, it's brought me together with so many amazing people. And I know you have your own James White story similar to this, but
Yeah.
it it's just really awesome. And then to have the whole Q&A, and he was dropping so many hints during the Q&A. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I believe it's on the Instant Speed channel, right? That one?
One of the versions is on the Instant Speed channel.
Yeah.
And I'm working on one. I haven't had internet for a few days, so I'm working on one for the Card Guys channel that I
Okay.
record. It probably won't be as best quality as Flakes because he had front row seat with audio and everything, but definitely go check that out on Flake. I
Yeah.
think it's Flake's YouTube channel or the 983 TV YouTube channel or something like that. Um, it was great to hear him talk. Honestly,
It
it was
it
pretty neat.
it really was. Plus that funny moment right at the end where Flake's like, "Will NFTs ever come to Flesh and Blood?" Fuck no.
Straight shot at MetaZoo on that, and I love
Yeah,
that.
I love it.
I mean, it gives a little banter, between car games and storylines, and I think things like that is pretty fucking neat. So the banquet was pretty neat. We got to see a lot of people that we haven't been able to see in a while, and we got to meet some new faces as well. Um, just having the sense of community was
Yeah,
some of the intangibles you really
I
you
have to
can really
say
take away from it.
a very funny moment of the banquet for me. And
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
you know what I'm gonna say. So
Yeah.
at one point in the banquet, they call up, if you have won a calling or a national championship, please come up to the front. And I was standing next to Nam, and Nam was like, I'm not going. And I'm like, no, you're going. You're gonna
I
take this
started
picture.
shoving him, bro.
Exactly. We started literally shoving him to the front, and we're like, you're taking this picture. Um, of course, I see Tyler Horse pull up there. Jack comes up next to me. Jack Tang, if you don't know, you're gonna know him in a second. And I go, damn, should have been me, or could have been me, something like that. Just been like, damn, I should have been up there. And he goes, yeah, me too. And then I remember, and then I was like, oh yeah. He's like, yeah, I got second at Hong Kong regionals. I was like, oh, you're that Oldham player. Ah,
Y'all share that moment together in
he shared that
second
moment.
places.
And it was just
Oh
amazing because
man,
we were both just like looking up there like should have been
bastards,
me.
bastards! I should be up
Yeah,
there.
I should be up
Yeah.
there. Just a fun moment right there
That
that I
that
wanted
that
to
was
share.
pretty neat. That's pretty neat. So yeah, I think afterwards, I think I didn't eat much of the hors d'oeuvres and stuff because I just tried to talk to as many people as possible and just introduce myself to a few people I met online, through Twitter and through Facebook, and the people that I've done business with in the past
Yeah,
with all the cards that I've sold and stuff, and play mats and stuff. So I met so many people I've interacted with on the internet, which is crazy. But
I will say
I,
it was a very good place to like pick up some snacks and stuff. I had already ate because I met some family before the banquet,
yeah.
but great for snacks. If you were going there like super hungry, expecting a full buffet, probably a little disappointed. But the food was very good for what it was.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And just like a little get together is pretty much all it was, and
Exactly,
it
exactly.
was definitely a good time. Um, I think afterwards, um,
You guys went
me,
to that.
Alex, Nam, and Nathan ended up going to Outback. And they got some ribeyes, best steak on the menu.
Oh
If you
yeah.
know, you know. Uh, and Willie B. Shout out to Willie B. Man. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Willie B. has with William Bradshaw. Fucking shout out to you, bro. Um he's blossomed into a very, very good card player in my eyes.
Yeah.
And with that said, he's not going to be a part of our group for testing and stuff. And I could not be more happy to have someone, to be able to bounce ideas off for another, deck expert in Prism and hit his insight on all that stuff. So,
Exactly.
shout out to Willie B. I had a fucking fantastic weekend with you, buddy. And,
And we'll get
you
into
know,
his story, but
we'll go fuck me, dude. I cannot wait for that. So yeah, let's get into Pro Tour and kind of what ensued. We get there Friday morning. See a lot of people at the top of the steps that I want to say scream my name once I turn the corner. A few friends of mine from a while ago, so it's nice to get to see people.
yep.
And we knew we were gonna get like a play mat, not a play mat, a like a card
Swag
and
kit.
some tunic sleeves, the swag. We were like, all right, cool, and they surprised us with two really neat things. And I know you have slightly differing opinions, but I do agree with one thing you're gonna say. They ended up giving us the York hero. The tunic sleeves, a Heart of Findle playmat, which is really nice of them. They didn't have to do anything like that. And I sold mine for quite a bit of money, and it pretty much funded my trip for the most part to get to
Yep.
New Jersey. So that's pretty awesome. And they gave us this one thing that I don't think I'm ever gonna get rid of ever. Um,
As
Granted, I
I
know
take a
you.
sip from it right now.
Yeah, as I take my own sip from us, cheers, real quick. Take a sip. Mm. It's this pretty neat fucking water bottle, man. It's the little things, and they got us this water bottle that has the Flesh and Blood logo on the back. It says "Action, drink water, gain hydration, go again." Um, it's the little things, man, and this is probably the coolest thing from the entire weekend for me. It was
Yeah.
this little fucking water bottle. It's so neat. Um,
What I would have to say I really did love the swag kit. York, it was cool. I, I'm on I liked him a lot because he double sided and all that, and it's a promo that's ever going to be given there. So we kind of know that there's like less than 1,500 of them. That's really cool.
mm-hmm,
Um, wish it was stamped or something like that, but they did that for the main prize promo. The water bottle was actually blew my expectations.
for
Hard to
sure.
fend all play Matt. I really appreciated how there was no zones and Pro Tour New Jersey stamped on it. So it's like this playmat was given out to the people who participated in the Pro Tour at New Jersey. That's it. And I really did love that.
There's like 350 of them. That's crazy.
Exactly. And one thing that I did have to that someone mentioned the group that got me thinking before the event, which I'm really upset that they didn't do, was just some kind of commemorative player badge or something like that, or
Like a
even
lanyard with your name on it says Pro Tour
exactly
competitor. You know, like I know a lot of people from esports and a lot of people from that come
Magic.
from
Yeah,
Magic and even come from Yu-Gi-Oh. That's one thing that people keep. They sell a lot of their other stuff, but the one thing that you know they it validates them
yeah,
is that lanyard that says, for example, Kyle Jones, Sebastiano Cavallo, Pro Tour competitor on it. Pro Tour, and it has
exactly.
like the Pro Tour New Jersey logo on it. Something like that would have been so sick to have, and I could have put it up on my light stand right here next to me, and start a collection of those. That's one thing that I personally really wanted. Obviously, I think they went above and beyond for what they did.
Yeah.
Um, but like I, it probably wouldn't have costed them anything to do it, So, that's just my 2 cents. But overall, 10 out of 10 for what they did anyway. Like that, this water bottle hit it out of the park for me, for sure.
Oh, it did for sure. The my last thing on that is because you only have the mat because they didn't do sleeves either that said Pro Tour on them. That was my other thing. And since you don't have sleeves, you don't have a lanyard. All you have is the mat that says Pro Tour New Jersey, linking it to the actual event. Like, sure, the Bard is only given out. The water bottle, I assume, might be only given out at for Pro Tour competitors, but like the mat was the only thing that actually said Pro Tour New Jersey on it. And I think I wanted just one more item that because now I don't want to sell the mat, even though Heart of Fendall isn't my favorite art or anything, or like the mat to me, I like mats I actually would play on, and Heart of Fendall isn't one of them. But now I'm kind of like, well, now I have to keep the mat because it's the only thing that says Pro Tour New Jersey on there and
Mm-hmm.
validates I went to this event.
Yeah.
Um, that's my only complaint, but overall, I really like it. And once that Eye of Ophidia mat comes out for Pro Tour France,
Ooh, Lord,
I'm gonna keep that and I'm
you
gonna
got to
play on
get
it
me
and be
one.
like, I went there. Yeah,
I want one of those. That's my favorite looking Fable for sure.
yeah.
Um, let's get into Pro Tour New Jersey in a nutshell.
The tournament. Yeah,
Obviously, results did not come as how we tested. Obviously,
yeah.
it was. I mean, that's kind of expected most of the time. Like you're playing against some of the best all the best players in the world. I mean, like there's going to be a lot of even records or a lot of barely losing records or barely winning records. It's just how it is, and like in anything professional, for example, um, you're all there for a reason. So you shouldn't expect just to steamroll everybody, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Um, it really did blow me away, and I was actually after the fact, I'm like really happy of how skillful that event was. Whether it was a loss or a win, I will say I did have two Starvo wins. That I mean, someone who won against me where it was an absolute high roll, and there was nothing I can do. But out of the five losses I did have, three of them were very well earned, and like one was a misplay to my own mistake. But they were earned losses, and then my wins were also earned. I didn't high roll anyone,
you
so
played a lot of credentialed people. I want to say you played Rob. You played the Italian national winner that played the Kano. He was actually playing Kano at the World Pro Tour too, right?
by the way, and I'm always the guy on the team who's like, we should play Null Rune, and they're always like,
You
no,
really
don't
are.
respect Kano, and
You really are.
No, I'm gonna respect Kano, and then I finally got to play a Kano player, and I was like, yes, it all paid, it paid off,
Now I
it
get to go
finally
back and
paid
talk
off,
shit if I win.
yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Plus, we had like one that was actually my favorite game of the whole Pro Tour, and we've actually talked a couple times after the fact, and he's a super great guy, and I can't wait to hang out with him at France. Um, yeah, but overall, it was a really really fun event, super skillful. Um,
Chane
after my
winning.
fifth
Ooh.
loss. personally, I was like, I could keep going because one thing I didn't know that technically if you were X5 at any point, because I was 4-3 day one, and I was like X5 losing to so early. I'm like, I can't even make top 64. So I did drop. In hindsight, I think for these events going forward, played out for the elo, but it was the allure of we were next to New York City, so I'm like, I can just go there and have a fun day and kind of take my mind off everything for the Battle Hardened tomorrow because, like Kyle said, I had a great time, I had lots of fun, but I was disappointed that I didn't do better. I didn't think I was gonna slam dunk the event or anything, but I was like, I really did want like a kind of
You
respectable
were
record.
you were you were shooting for top 32. I know you were.
Exactly. Yeah, I was shooting for top 32. That was the goal, and it didn't really come to fruition. And it's just kind of like that's card games.
Showed you
You
got
have
room for improvement still because the skill gap is
exactly,
just his skill gap's getting a lot smaller now. So
exactly.
which is a good thing. That's what you want in a game is everything to be really hard. You want to earn
Also,
it. So
yeah, and I think also more into the next event when it is a closed format like the Pro Tour is next time I really need to meta call my deck better, which is something that I'm gonna work on because my deck was good, but I don't think we had teched it up enough for that specific event. Like I think if I played in the calling, my deck would have done a lot better, but I think for that specific event, it wasn't where it needed to be. If that makes sense.
yeah, for sure.
Like the guy who won and I think another Michael Hamilton's list, they were both playing Yellow Belittle, and that's one of those cards that you're like in an open field, open format like the calling would be, that card's not as good, right? It's
Yeah,
like it's still good against the Chane and Starvo match, but it's like in an open field where you might have like to play a Katsu or a Levia or some random deck, it's not as good. But from what I played, that card would have been great, and I did talk about that card, and it got a little shot down, but it's all good.
that's another episode for me and you in itself. Honestly, um,
So yeah,
what were
meta
your
calling is.
well, first off, shout out to Josh for being the highest placing during, or excuse me, Bolton player. Ended up getting 64th at the
Yeah, shout
Pro Tour.
Josh,
Love to
best
see that.
Josh is the best card guy confirmed already. No,
He's in my
really.
opinion the best warrior player in the game, bar none. No
No,
no no
100%.
shade to a lot of people, but I mean Josh
Uh,
is just he's built different.
I will say when it comes to Warrior and Josh, like all the shade intended, he's the best Warrior player, and you can go ahead and challenge him for that title, and he'll probably beat you 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not lying. It
he's
kind
just
of reminds
fucking
me.
good, bro.
It kind of reminds me of like someone was saying, kind of like Reed Duke in Magic, where he's just a very technical player and he knows how to play his mid-range deck perfectly. And I feel like he
Oh
has that
yeah.
same kind of energy.
Yeah, that's kind of what Alex was saying about Reed. He just he never wavers from his Jund deck in modern,
Exactly.
and so that's kind of just how you know Josh is. He loves his one deck, and he's gonna stick with it.
And he's a damn good player on it
And
too.
he's the best one to
So,
fucking do it too.
and
So
and by the way, if anyone's like how maybe he dodged Starvo, no, I think he played like
he
he
went eight and
said
two against Starvo that week
he went
at the
eight
Pro
and two
Tour.
against Starvo. Yeah, so he did not have like good chain matchups only. No, he worked for all of his wins, and yeah, the Starvos knew how to play into him, and were playing Blizzard and Stalagmite and all that, and he still was able to get there. So
He figured it out. We'll
yeah,
we'll probably have Josh on the podcast soon, and we can talk to him and just have the I think we'll do that. I think we'll get Josh on here at one point and just talk about the story of Josh Lau. So, um, you know, what are your favorite moments that you had this past last weekend? I have quite a few, and I want to highlight one in particular, but I want you to go first.
I mean, I think definitely my favorite moment was the energy of the event and just how everyone was just so damn happy to be there, whether you were playing in the calling, playing side events, playing in the pro tour, um,
Anywhere, bro.
anywhere, just cosplaying. Some people were just there to like hang out, cosplay.
Shout out to Exude Confidence. She
Shout out to
fucking
Exude Conf.
snapped, bro.
Yep.
She
Um,
snapped.
she really did.
Shout out to whoever, whatever your name is, because you snapped.
It's
That was such
Carolina.
a good cosplay. Is that who that is? Is that her
Yeah.
name?
Yep.
Fucking
I
dude.
I met her at, I think it was Dallas.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yep. Met her at
that's pretty
Dallas.
neat. Fuck yeah,
Before she
dude.
was Exude Confidence, she was just Carolina.
Now she's exceeded confidence, so she
Yeah.
snapped, bro. My
Exactly.
girlfriend was even like, "Yo, she fucking snapped." So I mean, that should tell you how much hard work she put in. My favorite
Exactly.
moment, my favorite moment was meeting our Hong Kong friends.
It really was. That was like
Going
pretty
back
much
all the
the best
way to
moment.
the Blitz show match we had with those seven fuckers, man, and then they
Where
two of
they
them
romper
came
pumped us. Yeah.
where they beat our ass, and then finally getting to meet two of them in person was some of the neatest shit. You know, just me having someone you talk to online, and you have that missing thing where they're from where they're at, where they're from, but you don't really acknowledge it until they show up in person. And obviously there's like a small language barrier, a small, very small. They knew a lot, very good English, but and having that sink in, and them just have traveled an entire day, 24 hours, to get to
Yeah.
America to play in the game you also play on the exact opposite side of the world. Like that's just the coolest thing to me. And you and I got to talk to Kaiser quite a bit that weekend, and he has a little special place in our hearts because he's such an innocent soul. Both of them
He,
are, and so
he really does have a special place in my heart.
they
He
go ahead.
It was just amazing. No, no, I mean it was just incredible, really.
And it's neat
And
to know
I've
that.
never I've never met someone and after like 5 days of hanging out with them, when they're leaving, I'm like I was sad, like I was like,
Dude,
wow,
that
I'm
after
actually
that dinner,
sad
bro. After that dinner got me so upset.
because like it was like it wasn't happening. We're at dinner with them and they're like, oh yeah, we're getting on our flight at 1 a.m. Bye guys. And I was like,
Wait, not
what?
like this. Don't
And
tell me this.
as they're walking away, I'm like, I didn't even get a picture with them. What? What? What's going on? Come
I'm glad
back.
I got my picture. I'm so happy I got my picture with them. I made it a point because they were walking out of the venue at one point. I was like, nope, y'all come over here right now, immediately. They were like, okay.
Yep.
But yeah, shout out to fucking Jack and Kaiser, man. Those two are they're when they come back to America, they Kaiser 100% promises he's coming back to America for Worlds. So
Yeah. For the worlds, that's definitely not totally confirmed in Atlanta. Just saying.
we're gonna will that shit into existence, okay? Um, also, something else that was really fun. We got to meet a lot of our fans and our patrons. That was really neat. Short story, in 2016 when we were doing the card guys stuff for Yu-Gi-Oh, there was like a 2.5 hour delay before the a national started in Pittsburgh, and for the entire 2.5 hours, we had nonstop fans and nonstop people come up to us and want to take pictures and talk to us and sign stuff. And this past weekend, I signed a couple cards, me, and I don't even do anything other than like manage the content. And I'm not trying to build my brand. I'm trying to build, y'all's brands. But people came up to me and told me that, they really enjoy what, the value I've put in. And I got a few pictures with people from Germany, and just that was such a humbling experience. Get to know that, we're making an impact on a lot of these players. And
Yeah.
being able to meet our patrons was a pretty special, to say the least.
I tested a couple times with Alifos. I'm just gonna say his Discord name to keep him private in case he doesn't want me saying his name. But met him in real life. He was super nice. He gave I actually didn't have enough time to like go and wait into the line of the event for Federico to sign something, and he was like, I was playing at the Battle Harden round one, round two. He comes up and he's like, "Hey, I got this for you," and it's a rainbow foil chain, blitz chain. He's like, "Play with it today," and I was like, "Dude, this is literally the coolest thing ever," and it was just nice to like finally get to meet him in person. I got to meet him after we had dinner the day before and just talk to him for a bit and finally put the the One Punch Man icon to the face, put a face on it. All right, and
Yeah, for sure.
me and him shared some nice experiences, staying up till 5:30 a.m. testing and fixing up his Lexi deck before the calling for him and before the Pro Tour. And his deck was actually, I think he said, pretty damn close to Yuki's list. So
That's really neat. That's really neat. I think that's that's something that one of those intangibles I'll talk about is just getting to meet the people that we meet on the internet, right? Um,
exactly.
and that's some of the coolest shit ever. Getting to meet him. We were at the hibachi place and we talked for about 20-30 minutes outside of the hibachi place, and just a bunch of fucking good times, man. Um, so obviously Pro Tour ended. Sorry, Sebastian. I know you might be a little excited for it, but Chane ended up winning, and now after Chane won, got 200 points for winning the Pro Tour. And after winning 26 Pro Quests in the first week, so that same weekend apparently, um, it looks like he only needs to win 22 out of like another 100 something Pro Quests, and he's living legend out.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like with Starvo gone, if he leaves too, it kind of really does open up the game. So depending on what we see out of Uprising, of course.
Uprising, yeah.
I mean, like for all we know, Fi just might be even more degenerate of an aggro deck than Chain is.
I'm
Uh,
looking forward to it.
yeah,
It's a niche. I'm on it.
but honestly, like it will be nice if we kind of have Chain for like one more season into the Uprising meta to see if he can even fit into the meta, or if he's out of the meta completely. So that way, I just kind of am like, okay, well now I know. Don't try. It would kind of would help me to be like, okay, I'm not gonna try and make Chain work because he's living legend. He's out of the game. I can just focus on a new deck and play testing whatever's best. And because after the Starvo meta, the first Starvo meta, not Pro Tour Starvo meta, I kind of was like, I think you're playing the deck, there's a lot of value to that, but at some point you should just play the best deck. And I kind of regretted not playing Starvo during Starvo format because it was like having to climb the mountain with Chain against Starvo versus just being able to landslide Chain as Starvo, and
Yeah.
working for your win so much harder than it is to just, play the best deck and, dominate Oakenold and to dominate Oakenold and, like these easy wins. So basically, I'll be sad. I'll do my little burial video like Matt Rogers did for Dash, but we'll do that. I'll just be happy, and honestly, I'm more excited for the supplementary set we're getting after Uprising. Hopefully, it hits talent, and if Chain is living legend out, maybe they'll do a new Shadow Runeblade. But I'm honestly ready for more Shadow classes in general. Like I want a Shadow Ninja. I love how Shadow plays. I'm kind of upset that
I
we don't
want a
have a
Shadow
good.
Ninja.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
exactly. I love graveyard decks. So throughout, like I think we got into that throughout many games I played. I played graveyard deck, so I'm kind of upset that once Chain leaves, there's not really a good like you can play Levia, but Levia fucking sucks. Shout out Van Sant. I'm saying it. She sucks. All right. So I'm not gonna switch to that deck. So I just want there to be more shadow heroes to play with.
I agree. I think they will. I think once we hit the supplementary set, I think we'll get more talents in, and I think we'll get a new shadow hero that we're able to do stuff with. Now, speaking of Uprising, now if you guys don't know, we're a part of a team called the Card Guys,
Yep,
and we actually have a premiere card for you guys. That's going to be on June 7th on our YouTube channel. Um, I'm so excited to get this because at the last premiere card we had was Break Tide, was a Ninja Majestic. So obviously I was excited.
of course.
What
I mean, it was a really cool card too, with the whole mechanic of like leaving something in banish for a turn,
Yeah,
and for all we know, it's about to get a lot of play.
it might. You never know. What are you wanting to get out of this world premiere card? What kind of card do you want? What would be neat for you to be a part of as a card?
Somehow
Assuming Icelander.
make it a Rune Blade attack with Go again. All right, no, I'm just kidding.
Jesus Christ. Um,
um, I would say I want it to be a ninja card. I want it to be a Fi card.
what if
Just
it's
like a
just
cool,
Fi? What if we get a cold foil Fi?
that's not cool. I want it to be a majestic that I can, be like, wow. I want to know what Fi is trying to do from the average ninja, because Tatsu's your basic ninja combo lines, things like that. But Fi's gonna have that like special thing to it, so I'm very excited to see what that's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that or a Icelander card would be cool too. I think Icelander is gonna be very good. I'm curious to see how she'll play into Guardian or all that, and how the meta evolves with a wizard in the meta forefront, because that's very exciting to me and also very not exciting to me, because Wizards like that class, you love to see it doing well, but then when you sit across from it, you're like, I hate my life right now. You're like, oh, that Kano player's doing well. Good, just don't
Fuck.
play me.
Just please don't get paired up against me and we're fine.
Exactly. And then like you see him creeping up closer and closer to you, and you're like, oh no. The
Played
Icelander's gonna
beside him
be
a
that
couple
deck.
rounds.
Yeah, the Icelander's gonna be that deck where you're like, it's cool that a wizard's gonna be meta and it's gonna have all this ice interaction and be this like really control-y deck for aggro decks, but I'm like, build this invalidate aggro decks. I don't want that to happen. I don't want Fi to come out and immediately just be like, well, Icelander exists, so all your weenie aggro stuff that, by the way, James White said that Fi is gonna have some kind of like Phoenix resurrection
He
with its
kept on
things, and
saying rising from the ashes like a phoenix. That was his words he
right,
would
yeah,
use.
and Fi means fast and everything like that. So he didn't realize what the pitch cycle could be until he had the epiphany with Fi. So that's really cool that maybe you're going to be going through your deck really fast and summoning all these little guys that for the uprising, like the lore thing. I think that's going to be really cool, but I just don't want him to be trying to go off and then it's like Icelander, you sit across from Icelander, auto lose. That's
Let
going
me
to be a
flip
feel
this
bad.
card from our arsenal face up and fuck you.
Channel Lake on your turn. All right, that's fine. They get rid
Do
of it after
man.
2 turns, and then like on the third turn after they just got rid of it. All right, I'm gonna play this in response. Channel Lake on your turn. Oh my god, it will get so old so quick.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And also that card
Um,
that says all the cards with if they gain go again, they will not gain go again, and then you realize there's only like 2 cards that are generic that have go again
yeah.
naturally on them. Ravenous Ravel, that card's about to be the best card in a lot of people's decks.
Shh, don't tell nobody about Ravenous Rabble. Um, so obviously with that, we have the world premiere in Vegas, and the plan is to have you, well, you are Sebastian, you, Alex, and Nam play in that. Obviously, we want a team to go and represent for the first ever team event.
Team Blitz, yeah.
Um, other than the 3v3 team blitz event that happened right before Indy. Hint, hint, the car guys won that. Nah, no, just kidding. But I do think you guys have a really good shot at it. I do believe we have the blitz experience down pat, obviously because we have Josh on our side, and
Yep.
that's how we started playing the game was blitz, and so we're very accustomed to it. And I do believe that if you Alex and Nam, I think if you and Nam can just carry Alex, you guys could do well. Shout out to
I think
Alex.
Alex is going to be carrying us,
Yeah,
honestly. Um,
probably.
I would say Alex is one of those players that is very, very good at card games. That Yuki made a tweet about like how people on her testing team very good at card games just haven't had their big break moment, and I think Alex is one of those players where
It's literally that
and
he's just gotten very unlucky.
he's gotten unlucky a couple times, but he's an amazing player and he's definitely deserving his big break moment, and I really want it to be, on the same team. I mean, how awesome would that be? It's like I get my salty run back and win a calling at Vegas, right? Nam
Yeah,
gets his second calling win, and then Alex gets his like first
his
top
first
out of
big
major,
break.
yeah,
Yeah,
his first big break. That would just be amazing.
and I know as much as you and Nam want to, how much you guys want to do well, but I know how much y'all want it for Alex too,
Yeah,
and so I think that's what it's about is to lift each other up and just play the game. And like I said, I think you guys have a fairly decent shot of doing very well. Obviously, depending on the amount you guys practice, um, if there even is that. And I mean, next week, or like I guess in a couple days, actually, we know everything that comes out in the Reinar and Dory decks. So Dory either might or might not be one of the best decks, barring what Josh says. And then also Reinar might get a couple new tools that just help it be even more degenerate. So like you never know what's gonna happen with with everything. So
yeah. But if anyone's going into the calling, I think if you're gonna play Dory, like some of these decks where like you're gonna play Dory, but obviously you have the awful matchup with Oldhim. You need to know how to beat Oldhim, and if you never played Dory before, I would just recommend not doing that. Same thing with Kano. I watched that guy's video, and he made a good point. He's like, if you haven't played Kano before, do not bring it to this event because you're gonna have to fight. Oldham's like 17 React Oldhim. He's real, all right, and he's
he's really
he
real.
and he's got a monstrous dick, all right.
it's
I mean, he really does. And
a big one.
just imagine playing Dory and like every time you're attacked, they perfect block, and then you're like, I got the
Fuck.
two reactions to get over it, and he's like, all right, staunch response on top of that. And it's just like, how do you beat that?
It's
How do you
kind of
beat 17
demoralizing.
reactions? Yeah, I mean, it really is. So unless you're Josh, who's gonna set up the perfect pitch stack of this exact thing to do the triple hit Dawn Blade combo on Oldhim, you're gonna have a tough time.
He beat 3 Oldhams at the Battle Hardened as
Oh,
Dory.
I know. I'm
That's
not. I'm
crazy.
saying that. I'm saying if you are one of those players who can do that, who can beat your worst matchup consistently, I think you're gonna have a great time. I think there's a lot of good decks going into this this calling, and that's what I love about it. That Blitz is so open. It's like, for example, me. I'm a chain player, right? So even though Briar might be slightly better, or Aggro Dash might be slightly better, right? It's like my experience on chain is actually makes it more worth it for me to play chain at this calling because blitz is open enough where yes there is like gonna be some high roll, but you can do it where your expertise comes in also, and you can play the deck you want. So if you're a good dash player, you can go ahead and play dash and play it well, because even though Kane might have Husk and Briar might have Panel Mount and all the good stuff she's got, you're just a better dash player, which
hmm
I really think is cool. Same thing with Dory and Josh and everything. It's like he's a fantastic Dory player. So if you're a good enough Dory player, you're very familiar with the deck, you can beat your bad matchup. That's gonna be the way to go.
For
So the
sure.
takeaway is you gotta beat Oldham, figure out how to do that, or just accept. It's such an interesting format because tell me if you agree with me. you can basically like determine, all right, so one of the matches in my game is like almost a guaranteed win, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
on our team, right? Because you're like, okay, the Oldham player most likely is gonna win his game. So now you have a meta where you're like, do you play the deck you want to play, right? Like let's say I can play some anti Oldham, you know, Kano deck, right? And perfectly pitch stack and everything and try to do some crazy combo, or I can just play Chain. It's a deck I know, and if I see Oldham, I can just be like, okay, I'll take this loss, but I know there's a guaranteed win from our Oldham player, and then it's just relying on the third guy now. So it's like, do you almost play your game where you're like, okay, one person's just gonna lose to the 17 React Oldham deck. Now the other, then you're gonna have a guaranteed win with your 17 React Oldham deck, and now you're just like,
It
all
comes
right, so
down to
what's
that last match. Yeah.
it comes down to the last match, which is
I think
kind of
I,
interesting.
I think that's kind of the way to look at this kind of format.
Yeah.
Just the way how Blitz has evolved as a format. That's a very realistic approach to what we're probably going to experience in a format like this. Because I think at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to put Oldham in the middle just
Yep.
because it's the slower match and
Oh
it's
yeah.
going to be the one that goes the longest. So you want all eyes on that at the end of it to help like navigate a way to
Well,
either win the game or fatigue in a certain amount of time. So I think that
well, there's a meta to that too, where you might want the fastest match in the middle. That way, that play, like for example, if you have your strongest player, you want him in the middle. So on a fast match, on a fast deck, that way he can
mm-hmm.
get done and help both players out.
Yep,
So it's kind of a meta both ways, right?
for sure. For sure. We'll see though. I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys test for it because there's only
I
what? There's only 2
I'm
weeks
looking
left until
forward.
right?
Oh
2
yeah, there's
weeks.
only I think there's only 2 weeks here. Let me check, or maybe three
June
at this
June
point.
10th weekend. Let's look at it. Yeah,
No, that is
next
2 weeks
in two
away.
two weekends. Yeah.
The weekends.
Good lord.
That is crazy to think about how we're going off Pro Tour into Pro Quest into this calling into Road to National season. Well, probably a skirmish season. They'll probably throw a skirmish season in there, and then
We'll
into
definitely
Road to
have
Nat.
things to talk about on our next episode in regards to that for sure.
Yeah,
Cause your boy's tired. but but yeah, I'm looking forward to all that. I think
I'm looking forward to Uprising.
dude, you're telling me. I think a lot of people are, but
I'm
I
so
think
ready for new heroes since Tales of
yeah,
Aria.
for sure. For sure, for sure. I'm looking forward to limited. Limited is something that I haven't had a lot of practice with other than Tails, but
Well, you
I'm
know
looking
what?
forward to it.
If you ever want me to teach you some limited, I heard I'm pretty damn good at it.
Oh yeah, is that right?
Oh yeah. Some would
Uh,
even say I'm top 10 global.
are you? Let's look. I'm gonna
Oh,
look. I'm calling your bluff here. Let's see. Events, leaderboards. Put your money where your mouth is, motherfucker. Hold on. If it'll load. You're lucky the website's not even loading. Wow. Okay, there it is. Elo Limited. Come on, load for me. Load for me. Gee, motherfucker, you're eighth. Oh, that's funny. That's so funny.
I'm going to French just to go
There's
3-0
some
in the draft pods and then go like 0-5 in CC and just keep my limiteds.
as long as you can just keep your limited elo out, you're fine. Oh, that's
Exactly.
funny. You're in some good company in this limited one. You got Kiernan, Carnegie, Sasha Markovic, Matt Rogers, Tarek Patel, Michael Fang, Nick Zimmerman, and you. I don't know. No offense to the Peter and Drayton Gans and the Eric guy. I'm not entirely sure who you guys are, but you're in some pretty freaking neat company up there. Um, but yeah, I think our time's running short here. We wanted to keep it about 45 minutes to an hour, about 55 minutes
Okay. Yeah.
into this. So I guess that leaves a few talking points that we could have for next week that we can go forth and talk about later on. If you guys stuck with us this long, we freaking appreciate you. It's been It's been a while since we've done one of these, obviously, but obviously we'll keep them coming out weekly, and we'll keep the good talks lined up for you guys. I know a lot of people are asking when the next episode was, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Any final words before I sign us off here?
I mean, no, just thank everyone for listening and keep on continuing to support and actually watching the video. So thank you so
For
much.
sure. For sure. I think a lot of people at the event heard me, saw my tweets, or saw things I said about, being kind of clean and smell nice. A lot of people did smell good. A couple people smelled bad, and I let them know. I told you I would. But again, like I said, perfect segue to the outro. Don't forget to brush your fucking teeth, wash those pits, wipe your ass. I want you to smell good. We love you guys. We'll talk to you in the very next episode of Missing Triggers. It's been Colin Sebastian with the Card Guys. We'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
And I do mine.